Hi, and welcome to Style Thoughts by Rita with our very special guest and expert consultant, Meradj.
Hey, hey.
And today we are continuing our series of videos on men's essences, taking quadrant by quadrant. Even though you just seem to want us to get to the women's part, we will not stop because we are very interested in this.
But we will get to the women's part.
And we're excited for the women's part, but we don't think that the women are exactly the same as the men. And we don't want to rush the process. We want to let the system unfold naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can still style all the men in your life by watching this video and tell them what to do, or just criticize and judge men on the street.
Yeah.
That's what we want to give. We want to empower you to do that.
Definitely.
Okay. So today we're talking about the right up quadrant. So again, in our system, the right corresponds to like the essence of being impressive, kind of the sun, pure, maybe anxious, maybe refined, kind of the light force, a virtue ethicist. And the up part of our quadrant is focused on the way that you best present yourself to the world. So in this case, it is filtering yourself through a persona by having kind of a deliberate outfit that is suited to your role in the context you appear, that requires effort, that is kind of structured and thought through, ornate, again, kind of representing a persona rather than really just like, your whatever. Okay, and there's our full quadrant. Just in case you still haven't seen it, you can watch our video about that. And today we're talking about the upright, so the combination of being kind of this like light, pure, impressive, light virtue ethics and kind of ornate, structured, deliberate role and context.
And from our previous video, which you should really watch, our two paradigm examples are Henry Cavill, who as you saw was very high up and very to the right. And here is an outfit which we think he just looks great in. He's really fulfilling this role of this like impressive character, almost like the aristocrat, the businessman, the academic, all wrapped into one, and he just looks great. And I think here you can even see that the more to the right you go, this is not necessarily true, but the more to the right you go, perhaps the less of a facial beard you should have, because although he looks great in the picture furthest to the left, we think he looks better in the other two pictures. The other person is Idris Elba, and who's also to the right and also up, and yeah, we just think he looks great here. But as you can see, his outfits are a bit less ornate than Henry Cavill's. He doesn't have that thing in his jacket pocket. What is that called with that? Yeah, this like handkerchief in the jacket pocket style. And he doesn't have the same amount of cufflinks as Henry Cavill. And he doesn't, his ties are more like a plain. That's because he isn't as far right up. So for him, it doesn't really make sense to be like as ornate and as persona fulfilling as Henry Cavill is.
That's beautiful. Okay. And now we're going to take you through our first celebrity, and just in case you have somehow not seen our videos, we're just going to go through a bunch of celebrities. We're going to put them on the thing. We're sorry if you haven't heard of them, but we're just trying to focus more on people who have a lot of outfit pictures online so that people can actually go and reference them rather than focusing kind of on cultural icons.
Yeah, and the idea is that as we go through these and we explain why they belong where they belong, the concepts of our system become clearer, and the intuition of what like each corner represent is like made apparent.
Beautiful. So let's talk about Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, so Tom Hiddleston is our first celebrity. We think he is very far up, but he's not as far right as Henry Cavill. So that just means he wants kind of the same level of deliberation in his outfits. It's all very about him fulfilling a role in a specific context. It's very thought through, ornate, but he's like less of this impressive character in his essence than Henry Cavill. And here are outfits which we think he just looks great in. These are all very like thought through outfits, very ornate. And I think you also see here, the outfit to the left, although he looks really good in this, he doesn't look as good as the middle and the right outfit, and that is because these darker colors doesn't really appeal as well to his right essence, as well to his virtue ethics and essence, and the essence of being like the good son. And here we have some outfits where, yeah, he just looks significantly worse, right? And again, if you watched our previous video, it is not that everyone would look bad in these outfits, but it really is like for him, given his placement on the system, he just looks bad. The outfit furthest to the left could almost be and will be like a right up outfit for some people, as you will see soon. But it isn't sufficiently far up for it to work with Tom Hiddleston. Then the second outfit, it is a left down outfit, and you know, yeah, I mean that's like literally the opposite of what he is. So that is why that is the picture and the outfit in which he arguably looks worst in. But if you had like someone like Tom Hardy, they would look very good in that outfit. Then the outfit second to the right. I know really what this outfit is. I would say it's kind of like a right down outfit, but kind of towards the center a bit. And yeah, again, although he looks nice because it's to the right, it doesn't look nearly as nice as his previous outfits because it's too casual and it just doesn't work for him. And the same thing is true with the outfits furthest to the right.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about Henry Golding, everybody's favorite rom-com star at the moment. So we put Henry Golding quite far to the right. We think he has a lot of this essence of being the sun, the purity, the refinement, but we don't think he's as far up. So we think that it's not for him, it's not as much about filtering himself through some impressive persona and being structured, although that's still like more where he shines. So here are some cute Henry Golding outfits. As you can see, I think he has a lot of very kind of formal structured touches. Like if you look, like his shoes are very stiff leather and they're kind of like shiny, they're kind of polished. He has this kind of vertical details in his shirt or these these like buttons on his blazer. So it's creating a lot of visual structure. And obviously he's just wearing suits in all of these scenarios. But I think he's looking very at ease. And you can also see that his suits are much less formal, much less ornate, much less structured. I mean, on the left, he's not wearing socks. Also on the, he's just like, he's not wearing socks. So he's adding in a bit of this kind of casual vibe and making it less thought through. Like, oh, I just forgot to like put on a tie today. I just forgot to button my top buttons, you know, and his hair is like a little bit, it's like definitely done, but it's like a little bit more fun. So he just looks like he's having fun and really living his life. And if he was your son, he would be like, oh my goodness, I did so well.
It's very interesting because the outfit furthest to the left, that, you know, was basically the outfit in which Tom Hiddleston looked so bad in, you know.
Yeah, that's
but, you know, this guy looked great in it.
He looks so like, great.
He's more down than Tom Hiddleston.
And here we have just some pictures. So on the left, I think like if you look at any Henry Golding pictures where he dresses in these really formal suits, you can immediately see that he is kind of losing a bit of his charm even because, I mean, obviously he looks beautiful because he's a famous celebrity wearing a very expensive suit. But it's like the formality is like stifling him. It's like he wants to untie that bow tie at the after party. And, you know, maybe he's taking his jacket off or something. That's like when you want to see him at his best, when it's a bit more Henry shining through. Whereas with, what's his name, the Superman guy, Henry Cavill,
yeah.
It's a bit like you just want him to keep the tie on as long as possible because he's the tie guy. And on the right, we have Henry in this kind of right down maybe outfit. I don't really know. Maybe
but right down.
Yeah, I mean, it could be left down also. Like it's not that specific, but it is a very casual outfit. And again, I think like he looks nice, but you wouldn't expect that much from him. I mean, obviously this man is wearing suits, which in our culture a bit like connote fanciness. But still, I think it's not just the suitness. I think it's a bit like, you don't see this guy as kind of refined, sophisticated, you know, kind of gentleman joker. On the right, he's just like, okay, like, seems like a nice guy, I guess. So he's like kind of losing a bit of his star power. Oh, there's even more outfits.
Yeah, because in the previous outfits, if we go back to them, you can see that although they don't look as good as him at his best, given that he is, you know, to the right and a bit down, it's like he could still pull off an outfit which is like more right up as the suit is, and he could pull off an outfit which is like a bit too casual for him, but it's just not him at his best. Whereas the next slide, we really just see him in things he can't pull off.
Yeah, these are the pictures we think he looks not so good in. So I think on the very right, that's a picture of like a left up outfit. You know, it's very cool, but it's like too cool for him. It's like, that's a bit of like an intimidating, I'm going to intimidate you with my coolness type of guy outfit. And it's just like, you just know Henry's not going to intimidate people with his coolness. Yeah, I don't want to like go through every outfit. I think like you can see that we just really lose focus from who he is when he is not appropriately kind of styled, thought through, and ornate.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Barack Obama, because we think Barack Obama is like super up and super to the right. And we think, I mean, that's also makes sense, right? So for somebody to be a president, they have to really be this kind of like iconic figure that is truly like, he is the persona. Like he is the first Black president, the president of the United States. He will always be the president of the United States. That's like, he might have a personality, like, sure, but it's like the persona is the ultimate thing. And also, I mean, his image very much is like, I am refined, I am the light, I am very pure, like very impressive, like intellectually. So we think he is really just epitomizes that. So of course, I mean, yeah, okay, so suits, like again, suits, but you can see that he's wearing a bit of a different suits than Henry Cavill, because these aren't really fashion suits, or on the right, it's not this like fashion polo shirt, it's more like this, I need to just like live my life as the president / former president of America, and this is the outfit that really allows me to do that. But it's like, you know, his trousers, they're like perfectly pressed. You know, like everything is like perfectly starched. Like the tie is like perfectly tied. That like lapel pin, somebody like measured it with a ruler before they put it on, right?
Yeah.
It's like you just know that there is an incredible amount of work that has gone into creating that style. And yet when he is in this like super formal, super serious style, you can see that he is like shining through as himself. And then when we look at him in his more casual outfits, so I know that people they tend to really like to look at casual Obama, but I think part of that is because it's just funny to see Obama not wearing a suit and not wearing this really formal clothes, because that's how we know him. And I think in these outfits, we chose all of these because we think these are kind of like left, or they're just generally, but kind of like conservative outfits in general, like I would say, you know. Like on the right, he has a bit of this like rounded sweater, and he has these jeans that are kind of like loose, but they're still stiff. So it definitely looks like polished, and he never looks sloppy. But it's like, again, he doesn't radiate that power, that message of hope, that message of kind of like civility, like honor, like dignity. It's like, you know, he's Obama, so you automatically assign him those feelings. But that like the force of his like essence is really gone in these outfits, even though obviously he looks really nice.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because if you look at the outfits furthest to the left, that kind of is the same outfit, and go back, that he had here furthest to the right, in the sense that it's like kind of the same fabric, you know, it's the glasses, it's the light colors, but yet he looks so much better here. And I think that is because his outfit here to the right really allows him still to step into the persona of like Barack Obama, the first Black president, the carrier of hope, as he was. The carrier of hope. But while the other outfit, it just doesn't allow him to step into that persona at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like he's like golfing. It's like, would the savior of humanity be golfing?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that he's the savior of humanity, exactly. But that's his role. That's the point.
Yeah, I mean, we can have some normative critiques of Obama that's run for days.
Very many critiques. Okay. Now we're going to talk about David Gandy.
Yeah, and this guy, we think, we don't know if you know this guy, some of you probably will, he's a model, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we think this guy is very much to the right, but he's a bit more up than, what's his name, the rom-com guy?
Henry Golding.
Than Henry Golding, and so yeah, let's just look at him in some outfits. We think these are outfits where he looks just great, right? Because they are very much right outfits in the sense that they allow this like impressiveness to really shine through, and they're also up outfits because they're very ornate and structured, but they're not this like suit type structured, as like some of the previous entries on this video have been. And it really goes to show, that just because you're on the right and you're up doesn't mean you just have to wear a suit. You can wear a suit, you do look good in suit, but there are many other options. And I think that becomes clear if we look at someone who, is paid to dress in different types of styles. So insofar as it
and his persona isn't about wearing a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
a
model, so he's meant to. His persona is like to be hot. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So for some people, the persona is perhaps to wear a suit, but that's not necessary for all. But I think another factor here why we see a lot of suits is just because men, they're still a bit limited in their fashion.
Yeah.
Right? It just takes someone who's kind of bold to pull off what he is wearing here, right?
Yeah, I think that's why the thing for women would be really different because they're so much more free. I mean, for men, there's a lot fewer options. And also suits are so culturally seen as this like epitome of like snappy dressing. So if you can pull off a suit, I think you tend to wear it more.
And it's so associated with this, like both like this impressiveness and this good guy,
Okay.
Yeah, but here are outfits where, we just think he looks a lot worse. Not going to go through it all, but we think like the outfit furthest to left down, he doesn't look good. Outfit in the middle could be right down or left down, doesn't look good at all. And I think it's very interesting because the outfit furthest to the right, I think that would be, at least for me, kind of a center left, slightly up outfit.
Oh,
yeah.
The poet,
yeah, exactly. Kind of the poet, the rebel, somewhere there. But he doesn't look good in it. Actually, he kind of looks a bit like off-putting. And we will get to that later when Rita discusses some of the archetypes in the right up corner. But if you go to the next slide, then we also see how it wouldn't make sense for this guy, or he wouldn't look at his best if he dressed too far up, which he does in the picture furthest to the left. That's just a Henry Cavill suit.
Yeah, and he looks like he's pretending to be a banker.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly. Yeah. He really looks like he's pretending to fulfill a role which isn't his like essential, which isn't the role that flows from his essence. Whilst if you saw Henry Cavill wear that, it would be like perfect. And then in the right, the outfit to the right, that's a left down outfit. And then it's just like, dude, what are you pretending to be here? I would say he looks a bit sleazy.
Yeah, he definitely does. Definitely looks a bit sleazy. Yeah, and no, I mean, I think it's amazing to really look at these pictures, just to go back for a second, because this guy, he's like literally a male model. Like, he's like paid to look hot. So it's like, I think it's amazing that he really looks so much worse in these outfits compared to the other ones. And I think that really shows the power of like dressing to the essence.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
And now we're going to talk about Manny Jacinto. And I will talk about that. And we place Manny really close here to the center, but like a little bit up, a little bit to the right. If you don't know who we're talking about, it's Jason Mendoza from The Good Place. So Manny, he has kind of like a delicate look in general. And he dresses to that, keeping his silhouettes and his lines really sleek and kind of non-fussy and not overly ornamental. So he's just a little bit up in the sense that he looks nice with that structure, that really crisp bow tie. That top button is like button on the right, like that leather jacket. It's not like floppy, It
has a nice color.
Yeah. Even with the leather jacket, he has this shirt that buttons up at the top. He has these nice slacks. So it's like he says these are just like nice put together looks. But I think that a lot of people, if you maybe know men in your life who want to dress up this way when they want to look nice, and they seem kind of like a bit stifled. Or on the other hand, men who are more up, like Idris Elba or Henry Cavill, they will look a bit undone. But Manny Jacinto, I think, just looks really beautiful in these pictures.
Yeah, and I think also here we can see why he isn't as far to the right as some of the previous entries, which is because, I think he really looks better in these dark colors, first of all.
Do you think people to the right can only wear light
No,
colors?
but I think it's like, as a thumb rule, I think, the more you go to the right, the better you will look like in light color. I'm not saying that's necessary and true for all cases, but, as a general observation. Okay. But I think another thing that also, makes him a bit more to the left is because if you look at all of these, you think, yeah, he looks impressive, right? But there's also something a bit rebellious in him.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which is what we would associate with the left down corner.
Yeah. Okay, and then yeah, so here we have him in some other outfits. On the left, we have him in his monk outfit, and there we have him in just some really casual looks. And I mean, it just creates, I think what's really interesting is just how striking, just how different his persona is. And I mean, this Manny also looks like a great guy, you know, a bit like scruffy, a bit more fun, a bit more casual. But we really think, like, again, he just really shines in these looks that allow him to show off his side that's a little bit more polished, a little bit more refined, a little bit kind of more this like the pure heart in him can really shine through rather than kind of like the raw heart, so to speak, of the left.
Yeah, and for anyone who has like watched The Good Place, we've all had that moment, you know, in the beginning of the seasons. We see him wear either the Yanu outfit or we see him wear like some weird like sports Blake Bortles outfit, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a nice looking guy, and then comes the episode where they go to hell and he puts on the suit and you're like, why is this person one of the best looking human beings on the planet?
Yeah, you just get so confused.
Yeah.
It's really amazing how much more just attractive he is because you just really capture something in him aligns when he has those outfits on.
And then finally we have Steve Carell, one of our favorites, and we think he kind of is exactly here in the center. Right. So yeah, he wants that deliberation, he wants the role fulfillment, he's impressive, but he just doesn't max out on any of those aspects. He's more balanced. And yeah, I think these outfits kind of just speak to himself. By this point, I think you're getting it. I just want to highlight, again, it's not all about wearing suits. If you see like the middle outfits, one that is arguably his like best outfit here and the one he looks like nicest in. And it's not a suit, but still has this like, you know, structuredness to it. It allows him to fulfill this like role of the good guy, the impressive figure, but
yeah, can I add to that? I think
course.
it's also really interesting because, you know, he is like a comedian who has like a very silly personality. So I think in a way it's almost like a more casual outfit looks more done up on him in the context of who he is. So again, it's really thinking about like the role and the context the person has and how they're filtering it through. Because like, yeah, if we think back to our like model versus actor versus politician, you know, I mean, Steve Carell, he's meant to be like a very silly, like warm, goofy guy. And then but like still he really filters that through this persona of like a bit more formal, a bit more structured.
Yeah, definitely, right. I mean, and that is also the case in all of his comedy shows. Where when he does the best type of comedy, it's, you know, in, for example, Michael in The Office, or in the movie where he plays across from Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, and these are the kind of outfits he wears, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just that really allows him to be really funny and silly when he's wearing a suit, you know, which is just not something you would think about for most comedians.
And it's also what allows his essence to flow through the best. So even if he has this like very comedic kind of silly essence, it still just is these outfits which carry that message the best.
Yeah. Whereas if we see him in these more like, especially in the middle, these like really casual outfits, it's like, he just disappears, you know, because obviously, not saying like he has to wear a suit every day. And he's like, maybe he wants to dress that way so he disappears a bit in public. But it's just like when he's too underdone, like, you know, as he's in all the pictures, when there's kind of not enough bringing him together, then it's just like, oh, okay. And then you're not kind of curious and attracted and like viewing him in the same way.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was like all of our examples of the different celebrities. And now I want to like, you know, give you a moment here where I talk a little bit about the archetypes that we think that this quadrant really holds, as I talked about it last time. So again, I don't mean to say like the people who fall into this role are like X, but it's more to map on some cultural archetypes that we already know and are aware of, because I think this is illuminating. So here in the top right, we have like, I would say like the knight, right? This is the ultimate person who is the virtue ethics. He's like, has the code of honor. He's like in service of the good, really like courageous, extremely like impressive, and like, you know, okay, it's like intimidating because they're strong, but it's really about like this actor of light kind of. And at the same time, you know, the knight, it's all about being really like decked out and you have this really fancy outfit that is really portraying you to the world as a person that fulfills this specific role. So it's like, as a knight, it's like you're like chivalry, gallantry, your service, your light, virtue ethics, your code of honor. That is like who you are. And like, of course you have other personality traits, but it's like the world understands you best when they see you on your like white horse in your fancy knight uniform. And then the other like archetype that I place here, I kind of call like the leader, the manager, the diplomat. And I think like this is just obvious, right? In our society, this is kind of where we put, this is what a lot of men aspire to be, right? Is a bit on the like the impressive, a bit like anxious, in a good way, like refined, pure guy who's kind of like structured and kind of meticulous and kind of thought through. That's the person, who you want leading your team, kind of maybe mediating talks between people, a person who is in charge, a person who can be trusted to run things smoothly, to reach a consensus, a person who's operating within some code of ethics that is like attractive to people, with these like rules-based approach to the right, and also a person again that's kind of like thought through, ornate, who follows organizational logic. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like that's like a good boss, but again, it's not to say that people who fall into this are like bosses in a company, but it's really more about the essence that you're a person who is being asked to mediate between different voices. You're a person who people turn to and place in charge because you're like willing to take that role, but at the same time you're not like up in the stratosphere, so you're like unreachable. You're not like the Obama who like, you need to climb 20 steps. It's still a person you can communicate with. So that's how I really see these people. Yeah,
and I think, again, I just want to note, as we have noted before, that for all of these things, it could be the case that the person who falls into the knight category is like actually in their current psychological makeup and whom they are as a person the opposite of a knight.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
for example, I don't know a lot about it, but something Henry Cavill is kind of a creepy person.
We don't know anything about Henry Cavill.
But it's more in our system about the fact that their appearance is like the essence of their appearance is best captured while fulfilling in, for example, in the category of the knight. But that doesn't mean that they, in like the deepest spirit, they all have all the psychological characteristics of a knight.
Exactly, and exactly. As there's like Steve Carell, I guess he's a manager in the office, but he's not a manager in real life, and he's doing great. So I'm just gonna keep us up, but we just have some reflections that we wanted to share with the write-up men that we found in the process of making this video. Do you want to start?
Yeah. So I think if you just think through the pictures we just showed you, it's apparent that there weren't a lot of pictures of these men, or these right-up men in left-up outfits, right? And it's kind of just hard to find out that, and some hypothesis to why that might be the case is just, first of all, because it's kind of like difficult for men to dress left up, because it really takes you very close to this like rawness and like almost animalistic nature. And for these men who look really good in this like kind of impressive aristocratic outfits, that's just like too much of a contradiction. But I think also part of it is that our society hasn't like historically catered to that look for men, right? Because it's often been associated with like kind of, for lack of a better word, like more disenfranchised, low life people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's so. So that they can maybe be a bit limited in their style exploration. And the other thing we've noticed is that we think it can be a bit challenging for the men in the right-up category to be really sexy. And again, partially this is a result of our society, which says, like pure is not sexy, animalistic is sexy, which is like, that's just like, it's kind of silly because like Henry Cavill, for example, is like a big sex icon for people, right? So obviously these men like can be sexy just like any other men, but we did find that like conveying the sexiness through his outfits could be a bit challenging. Like in many pictures when we found them showing their chest, like Idris Elba, or as we showed with that David guy, when they have really this unbuttoned and they're trying a bit to show their body, it can just feel a bit like off somehow. and like left down looks where it's like really casual and really kind of like, I guess, raw rather than pure, can almost look a bit like sleazy. So I think that it is kind of this gilded cage thing where it's like you are in this like upper right quadrant of, you know, the knights, the leaders, the managers, but as always, you know, that can kind of restrict you maybe from exploring some other looks. And at the same time, we really want to highlight that we do not think that this quadrant is all about wearing suits.
Yeah, and I think also, I hope that became like kind of apparent as we went through the examples, that these men, they look good in a lot of like non-suit outfits. I think it's just that in our current societal structures, the suit is just what best captures the right upness of these men, you know, but that isn't like a necessary part of reality, so to speak. It is really contingent upon how our society happens to be. And I think also as we kind of grow more into like men's fashion, we will see more diversity in right up outfits.
Yeah, I think so too. And then like, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the colors thing, right? Because we saw that white pants and just pale color suits and stuff really came up a lot. And while we don't think like right is light colors and left is dark colors, we think like there's something about wearing all white. Oh, like all white can also be very left, I think. But we think like in the right case, all white up, it's like a bit as for women's wardrobes, right? It's like meticulous, thorough, like you're not gonna spill on yourself. You've never spilled on yourself. You know, it's this kind of like just association with like being very, very fastidious with your appearance. That's really more about that rather than about like the person's coloring in itself. Yeah,
and I mean, again, we're kind of like developing this as we're going through the journey with the viewer. But one hypothesis is then that light colors kind of tilt slightly towards the right and dark colors kind of tilt slightly towards the left. But something that struck me now, and I don't know if this is true, I guess we will see as we go through the remaining quadrants, is actually that light colors kind of tilt upwards. And dark colors kind of tilt downwards. Yeah. That could also be possible.
I can see that because dark colors are a bit more casual. Again, just because of this visual connotation of like, you know, it could get a bit dirty, it could be a bit wrinkled.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whereas light, and especially for men, right? Yeah. Like dark blue, black, and gray, maybe green. Those are kind of like standard man colors. Yeah. So I think also wearing light colors is just a bit ornate for men maybe in itself.
I think we'll have an answer to the color question by the final wrap-up video on the men's section.
Yes, and next week you can wait for our write down video. So we're going to write down the left down and then we will get to the women. So, you know, let us know if you watched this so far and if you're still enjoying the videos and if you can think of any fun write-up celebrities. And thank you once again to beautiful Meradj for being our resident men's style expert. Bye.
Bye.